If you see something, say something.
Hey people, today is Tuesday, January 21st. The time right now is 11:52 a.m. and the temperature outside is a very cold minus 11 degrees Celsius, and with the wind chill, apparently it feels more like minus 21. I'm here at Castle Frank Station. And we're about to head out into the cold in a moment. This station's currently undergoing renovations to make it elevator accessible. And it looks like those are just about complete. And this is Bloor Street East. There's a look to the east, towards the Bloor Viaduct. And although it's minus 11, and a lot colder than that with the wind chill, it doesn't feel all that cold. It's not until the sun goes down that it really starts to feel freezing, even if the temperature remains the same. But we've got nice blue skies. There's someone riding their bike. But for this one, I'm going to make my way over towards Yonge Street. But we're going to cut through the St Jamestown neighbourhood. And I'll take a few mostly residential streets all the way over. I think Earl and Gloucester. Will be the streets I take across the east side of downtown. Well, now the wind's picking up a bit. And it's starting to feel properly cold. There's a 94 Wellesley bus. So I'll go left at Parliament Street and we'll head south a few blocks. And I'll make a right into the densest neighborhood, I think not just in the city, but in the entire country. I always like this view. Line 2 of the subway runs through whatever it's called there, elevated tunnel over Rosedale Valley. We've got the Yorkville skyline off in the distance. Thought about doing an indoor walk or two today with the cold, but nah, there's no fun in that. So this is the north end of Parliament, where for some reason vehicles going north can only turn right onto Bloor Street. They can't turn left. And there's no pedestrian crossing on this side. See how long this takes. As we look down into the valley. So we are on the east side of downtown. I remember reading St Jamestown over there is actually the largest high-rise community in the entire country. There's something like 19 different high-rise apartments between 14 and 32 stories. And there's a number of low-rise buildings as well. And there's something like 18,000 residents packed into that small area there. I think bordered roughly by Bloor Street here to the north, Wellesley Street, which is just to the south of here, Parliament Street here to the east, and Sherburne Street to the west. All right, let's see if we get the light. We should be able to cross in a moment here. There we go. Never knew the name of that park over there. That's the Rakai Family Park. And this is Howard Street. You can head along Howard all the way to Sherburne, and that's where you'll find Sherburne subway station. Got one of the oldest cemeteries in the city across the street. The Metro Toronto Housing Authority owns some of the buildings in St Jamestown. I'm not sure which ones. But over 3/4 of the occupants in St Jamestown are renters. This is St. James Avenue. All right, let's cut through here. I've done a few videos through here in the past. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm not a fan of these towers in the park design. You often end up with communities that feel isolated from the rest of the city, and this is no exception. This land here is not really a park space. It's just more of a buffer between these buildings and nothing. It's not very well utilized space. I told you I was in Siberia, you would probably believe me. There's a public school there. But this is considered one of the most culturally diverse urban pockets in the entire world. There's over 140 different languages spoken in this area. These are the days where sometimes you hold recess in the gym. It's so cold outside. And this is Ontario Street. I need to come back and do an updated walk down Ontario Street. There's a supermarket just down there, and often there's an outdoor market. Beef burger, $5. That's a pretty good deal. But there was a big redevelopment in St Jamestown in 2000. There's a new community center straight ahead, and some of the buildings were modernized. This is Bleecker Street. You can see some of the new condos that have sprung up amongst these rental towers. There's a few of these lower income neighborhoods that the city has been actively working to turn into mixed income. To the south of here, Regent Park comes to mind. And Alexandra Park is another such instance on the west side of downtown. All right, my face is officially frozen. This is Sherburne Street coming up. As I think at Bleecker, this became Earl Street I was walking along. There's Our Lady of Lourdes Church. And that sign says no exit, pedestrians accepted. That's because traffic calming measures were put in place up ahead. Designed to prevent motorists from using this as a through street. It's a gorgeous looking, almost Art Deco style old walk-up apartment. A lot of older Victorian style homes. I'd be willing to bet most of these have a heritage distinction within the city of Toronto. These ones were either rebuilt or they had a new facade. But they're done in a very similar style to the neighboring homes. And I think one of these properties on the left here was the initial Kenny vs. Spenny house in season 1. They look exactly like the house in that first season. They later moved to a house on Sherbourne Street soon thereafter. Right around the corner from here. There's a development notice across the street. There's plans for a 63-story tower on this lot. Welcome to downtown Toronto, where we don't know what medium density housing is. This is that traffic calming measure that was put in. Yeah, I'm almost positive one of those units was the first season Kenny vs. Spenny house. And this is Jarvis Street coming up. And on the other side of the street, Earl Place becomes Gloucester Street. The Rundle House. I'll have to look up what that is, but the Keg Mansion just down there on the left. We've got that mix of low-rise homes and high-rise apartments. These look mostly late 60s, early 70s era. Back in the 70s, the real estate value of this area wouldn't have been all that high relative to the rest of the city, and a lot of these gorgeous old homes fell into a state of disrepair. seeing if I can look up the price of this home. 103. Maybe if I remember to, I'll splash the text on the screen. No trespassing in the window. So the next major street to cross is Church Street. Here's an old 3-story walk-up. I wish we built a lot more properties like this a long time ago. It's certainly a very appropriate density for neighborhoods like this. It's something you see in Montreal pretty much everywhere you go, but Toronto, not so much. There's another one over there on the northwest corner of Church and Gloucester, spelled Gloucester. And this is the Church-Wellesley Village, where no doubt you'll see a lot more pedestrian activity than where I am now. Across the street, get the other side of the street parking. That walk up there is called the Gloucester Mansions. There's Victoria's Mansion Inn and Guest House. This home is for sale. 66 Gloucester. The nondescript apartment building, 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and studios. That's a Hollyburn property. Right across the street from these gorgeous old Victorian era homes. They look late 1800s. And this house should have a plaque on it. I remember, yep, there it is. I remember looking this up a few years ago. That's the Edward Birch House, often named after the original or prominent owner of the home. There's some townhomes built much later, but they used a nice brick color that matches the character of the house or the street. And this is one of the oldest homes in the area. That dates back to 1869, if I'm not mistaken. Not very good at remembering things, but for some reason old buildings seem to stick. That was designated a heritage building in 1984 by the city. This is Wabanose Lane. These are quite nice, almost church-like. There's a restaurant I've never been to, Bumpkins. That almost looks like a gallery of some sort. But this is over 50 years old. It's a mainstay of the area. And this is a series of linear parks. There's 3 linear parks. That's Dundonald Street. There's an entrance to Wellesley Station there. So rather than go all the way to Yonge Street, let's head up Norman Jewison Park here. We'll see if the third park to the north of here has reopened. That's been closed the last few years. That'll lead us up to Charles Street. I think the subway might be routed underneath where we're walking now. Some really interesting art. Yeah, this last park, which leads up to Charles Street, looks like it's open. George Hislop Park. So I'm going to head up to Hayden Street and then pop into Bloor-Yonge Station. There's the Artful Dodger, a pub I used to go to until I found out the owners were NIMBYs opposing a high-rise right next to it. As if you wave at that driver.
I thought they were talking about Andrea.
As if having a high-rise on a major corridor steps from a major subway line is a bad thing. That's precisely where you should be building them. Well, they've certainly added an interesting splash of color to this park. It's interesting how the colors play off these reflective mirrors. It's kind of whimsical and fun. We've got seating. I think they did a neat job with this park. Although I'm not sure what was wrong with it before, to be honest. All right, let's cut through this underground parking garage. There's a big bike share rack here and only one bike available. Yesterday there was a Line 2 subway outage and I bet all those bikes got snapped up. It came right at rush hour. This is taking us right to Hayden Street. There's the entrance to the subway station. Make sure a car's not going to fly around here and steamroll me. That guy kind of awkwardly held the door for me as someone was trying to make it their way through on the other side. That's why we should always try to stick to the right. That's a train going in the other direction. And here we are at Bloor-Yonge. I hope you enjoyed this freezing cold downtown Toronto walk. Do let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I don't think the next train's here for 2 minutes. I have an Instagram account I seldom update as well. And there is a super thanks button if you wish to say thanks that way. Anywho, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.